So I welcome you again. I'm Claire Ryman. I am the Women's Business Center Project Manager at the Iowa Center for Economic Success. And our mission at the Iowa Center is to help businesses start, grow, for families to become more financially secure and successful. That's all. That's all we want to do. But we do that through education, we do that through access to capital, and we do that through networking. So education, I have a little summary of events coming up, but we teach business planning classes. I've got a Dream Builder starting once a quarter. It's either in an 8-week format or a 4-week accelerated format. You come in 3 hours every Monday night. You're hearing every night from subject matter experts on all the areas you didn't know you really needed to think of when you started a business. But it helps set your foundation so that if you do decide to start that business, or you're in business and you're like, ooh, I need to recalibrate a little bit, gives you that opportunity to hear and learn from experts in all these different areas. We have Topical Tuesdays twice a month where we just have a lunch and learn. So it'll be a variety of business topics. Bring your lunch, 12 to noon in our office, come and hear about a business topic, and off you go. We have First Fridays where we highlight a woman-owned business that's just like you, has started a business, tripped and fell and had successes, and just provides that inspiration for everybody to see themselves in that business owner. So, and once a quarter, we rotate down here to the Greater Des Moines Partnership, so we have a downtown presence, and those that are right on the skywalk can come and join us. One-on-one coaching and counseling, so if you just need to visit with somebody on your books or your finances or just your marketing ideas, we can set that up. Access to capital, we run the microloan program for Iowa Economic Development Authority. So we're doing those early small loans while you're building your business. Startup companies less than 6 months, going to $30,000, and existing businesses up to $50,000. So we're really that stepping stone to your traditional lender. We're looking at the whole package of you and your business, not just your credit score. So we like to really get involved with what you're doing, who you are, and how you're going to move it forward. Networking, we love it when people can come to one of our events and make some connections, and I think we're probably making some today, and that is how Des Moines does business. People in Des Moines like to see you at events, they like to meet you at events, they want to see you out in the community, and then that's really when they start to trust you and when they start doing business with you. So we try to help not only teach you how to do that, but provide opportunities so that you can do that. We appreciate, yeah.
I think this one we didn't get a name from. Can I get a name from this one?
Oh, me.
Yeah, you slipped in. Thank you.
I'm Laura Formanek, and I own a creative company. I shoot and edit video, and so I've been in Des Moines about 2 years doing that, and nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Thanks for putting that out. I appreciate that. So we appreciate our collaboration with the Greater Des Moines Partnership. They simulcast all our First Fridays for us on their YouTube channel, and then they're archived, so if you miss one, you can go back in and watch it. They are a huge resource and hub for small business resources. One of their yearly or monthly events is the Top 5 for 5, and what's coming up in September is Make Social Media Work for Your Business. So take a peek at that. Highly recommend them. Small Business Success Summit is their all-day conference, which is held in Ankeny. Fantastic. How many of you have been to that before? Fantastic. It really is. Breakout sessions, really professional people, for you to pick your breakout sessions and get a lot and do a ton of networking. And then there's vendors for you to do additional business with. On the link here is the brand new Small Business Resource Hub. So Christina has put together a whole archive and library of resources right at your fingertips, so it's fantastic. I am going to have Becky come on up and talk about 10,000 Small Businesses program of Goldman Sachs and DMAC as the host.
Okay, thank you. I will just take a couple minutes, but as I mentioned, my name is Jackie Bolt and I work at DMAC. Our department is actually DMAC Business Resources, so we work specifically with businesses in our region on a number of initiatives, primarily around workforce, training and development, and try to support employees. So one of the programs that is now in our department and came to Iowa last year is the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. So if you have not yet heard about it, I'll just give you a little information. This is a program that is it's not new, it is just new to Iowa. So about 9 years ago, the Goldman Sachs Foundation put together a program with the intent of reaching 10,000 small businesses. So between their national program and their various locations around the U.S., they have reached about 8,900, I think is where we're at. And so last year, they came to Iowa and decided that we would kind of go out on a new venture. And so this is the first statewide program. So I am here talking to you today, but if you know other businesses from around the state, this is open to all of them as well. And what this is basically a training program for small business owners. So over the last year, we recruited from around the state. We have had 2 cohorts and 73 graduates complete the program. And I will say it has been way more successful and impactful than I envisioned kind of starting out. You hear of a lot of these things, and this I will say is completely different. So when the program began, Goldman Sachs worked with Babson College, which is an entrepreneurial school in Babson College, which is an entrepreneurial school in Boston, to develop the curriculum. And it is a little bit like, the alumni would describe it as kind of a mini MBA, but a little more practical because your business is the sole focus of all of the content, all of the case studies, all the curriculum. And it is intense, I will say. It is not easy. And so, but I will say I think it is intense because I think you get the reward on the back end. So the alumni that went through have said it is life-changing, it is business-changing, it has really taken their business to the next level. The goal at the end of the program is to walk out with a growth plan. So how is my company going to grow, either in revenue or employees? And so to give you a little bit on the program, you will come to DMAC or a central Iowa location 3 different times. So you come for 2 days for an orientation, and then you have a couple blocks of curriculum that are administered online. So they use Canvas, so it's an online training program. And then you come back to DMAC for 4 days, and they are 4 full days. And then you have a couple blocks of online training, and then you finish up with another 4 days. The best part about the program, not maybe the best part, but one of the advantages is that it is completely free to those that are accepted. And so when we say free, I mean we really take care of you. So all of your hotels while you stay are covered. The catering, the food is all covered. So you have to get here. And even if you're local, they actually want you to stay in the hotels. Because that is really where a lot of the networking happens, and a lot of the relationships are built. I will say that the cohorts that have come out together they have 2 tables together at the Small Business Summit because they still utilize each other, and they really all end up doing business together. So another thing to note about this is that it is really not designed for startups. So there's a lot of great resources around for those that are beginning their businesses. This is a little bit more for when you are established. So the eligibility requirements are that, first of all, and I think they are on the back of this form. So you have to be the owner or like the co-owner to go through the program. You can't send one of your employees through it. You have to be in business for 2 years, at least 2 years. You have to have at least 2 employees, one of which can be the owner. And then your most recent year, you have to have at least $100,000 in revenue. So the goal for us is to keep this program here. So if you're not there yet, keep it in mind, obviously, because our goal is for it to last and be around a while and to touch more Iowa businesses. And I would say too, we had such a variety of companies and organizations go through. So everything from manufacturers to chiropractors to consultants, restaurants, I mean, you name it, it's across the board. And so we are currently in our recruitment phase and application period for the next cohort. The information is on here. The deadline to apply is October 17th, and the link to apply is on here. And I apologize, we had a huge event at the fair, and I left all of my cards at the fair. And they are not yet in. So, but I don't know, I mean, if you can pass along my information, if there are additional questions, I'm more than happy to assist. You can also find me on the DMAC website. But we are, so we are in the application period, and the next cohort will begin the end of January.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I apologize that I have to take off. I'm very disappointed.
Well, we are ready to hear from Ms. Dwana Bradley. Yep, you can sit right there. Right there. And can you be my timer? Like give me 10? Yeah, 10, 15, 10. Sit down. All right. So, Dwana Bradley. She's a mover and a shaker, that's for sure. So, Dwana holds a bachelor's degree in Child and Family Services from Iowa State Bulldogs, a master's degree in elementary ed and literacy from Draco Bulldogs, as well as specialist degree in administration. She spent nearly 7 years as a reading interventionist with the Des Moines Public Schools and thought administration would be her path. But instead, she took the call to help launch Iowa Urban Media. She is also currently general chairperson of Iowa Juneteenth event, a graduate of the Greater Des Moines Leadership Institute, and now a board member for the Institute, chairing the curriculum committee. Dwana is currently serving on the Des Moines Public School Board and recently announced her campaign for re-election. Active in the community as a teacher and also a teacher in the after-school programs at Homes of Oakridge, volunteering on the Des Moines Public School Attendance Committee, serving as choir director at True Bible Baptist Church. She has 2 beautiful children, so she's a mother full-time. Help me welcome exhausted. So we always start our first Friday when we introduce somebody and we let them tell all of you what they do. It's their commercial time. So you tell us what Iowa Urban Media is and why we need to know about Iowa Urban Media, how we can support.
Iowa Urban Media really formed out of a nonprofit. So I started in the Des Moines Urban Experience, where we started our publication, which was called the Des Moines Urban Experience. We felt that there was, my father and I, so you'll hear me reference him, we felt like there was nothing that was telling the story of people of color in an accurate way, except if you looked at mainstream media and you got that we were either killing people, we were robbing from other people. There was nothing that promoted us in a positive light. That irritated me. I don't watch news that often. I do love CNN, but I just don't get into the whole how we're represented. I don't think it's right and I don't think it's fair. So my dad came with me this idea of let's come up with the name. Me and my sister, who's back there, and my dad, we came up with the name. And so we started the Des Moines Urban Experience, and we started in churches. He's a pastor. That worked best for us, and it has morphed into something more. I decided that we should make it a media company because no one is passionate about your stuff but yourself. And so we would kind of outsource things for our magazines, which are on your table, to be printed out. And I always felt like people weren't really vested in buying into it. So it would be that, oh, we get it printed when it got printed. And I'm like, this is my stuff. So I decided to lease a printing machine, and we print our own publications. And so that's what we do. And so we started Iowa Urban Media, and We have Bert, who can do website services and create your website. I've got Ashley, who does graphic design now, and then I just love to go talk to people. So I just think that what we have is amazing, because there's nothing like what we have here in our city. And my goal is for this to be, it really is around the state thanks to digital, but there's just nothing like this that tells our story. When you look into that magazine, one, you're going to have an experience because you're going to see positive stuff. That other stuff that is talked about, that's for whoever wants to broadcast that. I don't. My goal is to uplift people, and my thing is everybody has a story. I don't care who you are. Everyone has something to share with someone. So we highlight the person that is the leader to the person who could be cleaning the floors. Like, I don't care who you are, you're all the same because you all have a story. And so that's what I have the opportunity to do in the publication.
Awesome. And there are, and you might have a few more too.
Yeah, there's more in the bag.
Yeah, we have them here. So you alluded a little bit to your dad coming to you with this idea, and your sister. So you're working in the public schools, you're thinking you're gonna, kind of move towards administration, and then what happens?
Then, so my son had surgery. I'm very faith-based, so you're going to hear me say God a lot because none of this happens without him. So I acknowledge that every time I go somewhere. But I was sitting at home, and my son had to have surgery. And at this time, I have Juneteenth. I have magazine Juneteenth, and I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to do? Was sitting at home with him, and was sitting and just heard the Lord say, "It's time." And I'm like, for what? And it's like, I knew what it was. It meant that I had to leave teaching, and I didn't want to do that because I love teaching. I love kids. I love everything about them, and so I didn't want to give that up. But I also knew that he was saying it was time to go, so I had to make the decision. And I knew I was going to lose my insurance. I knew I was going to go from that high-paying paycheck to next to nothing. And I was thinking, like, are you sure? Like, I just wanted to make sure. Like, I just wanted to check to make sure that you were really telling me to do this. So I asked my family to pray for me because we're a very close-knit family. I said, let's just be in prayer while we figure this out. I already knew what I needed to do. And so in April of 2016, I let Des Moines Public Schools know that I would not be returning. And it has been a faith walk ever since. And so I jumped out of that boat, and I've been walking on water ever since, and just keeping my eyes focused on the greater good. And so I left it all to rebuild, and so I'm in a rebuilding season, and I'm grateful for the rebuilding season because it has truly humbled me a lot.
And I think you probably, all of you in business, can just feel that sense of being scared and uncertain. And I think every entrepreneur has that feeling. So I think it's really validating when you say, I was scared, and it can be lonely.
And some days I still am.
Yeah. I think it's great. So, first steps. You quit your job and you look at this magazine and the printer, and you're like, okay, now what? Now, how did you get your arms around that? Now what? What are my first steps?
I didn't do any of this correct, so I'm not the person to give you advice on how to start a business. So I'm not that person. I had no money to the side. I used all of my 401k, so I am not like the poster child for how to start a business. But I am the person that believes in walking in their purpose, and so this was my purpose. And so in thinking about that, first I had to think, where were we going to live? Because I had 2 kids that I was responsible for. And thank God for family, because without them I would be homeless. And I really mean that. I would not have a place to live because I wouldn't have the money still to this day to be able to take care of things. So I was really not feeling living at home after I had left home and having to go back and knock on mom and dad's door. But their door is always open, I guess, and so they let us back in. And then at that time I had to really think about, what is it that I want people to get out of when they look at this magazine? What are the areas that we want to focus on to be able to kind of make an impact in our community? And so education was easy for me to select. Jobs was another thing that was very easy for me to pick out, and then health. because looking at African Americans, those are the three things that we keep having to have conversations about. And so I try to, in each edition, have something that promotes those kinds of things. Knowing that it's really my family, myself. I don't have any employees. I can't afford to pay anybody. So I had to really think about how am I going to do this without, kind of stretching myself too thin. And so we are a submission-based publication. And what I found out is people want their stories to be told. I've never had to worry about trying to figure out where articles were going to come from because people were just sending them to me like, yes, print my stuff. Yeah. So it was very easy to do. And so that's what makes us very unique. I don't have any paid writers. I go out and cover things when I can, but it's submission based, and that's what we decided to do. And we decided to focus on those three things, but then we also let others speak their truths as well. So I try not to discourage anyone from speaking their truths in the publication. So.
From a business standpoint, things have to be paid for. The paper and the printer, and so how do you do that?
We solely do that off of advertising. The publication is free. I did that for a reason. I really did not want to burden anyone with having to pay for something else, especially if they didn't have the money to pay for something else. So the publication has always been free. It will probably always stay that way until we get to a point to where maybe we do subscriptions, but right now it's free. And advertising is the only way that we get things done. With having the media company now, we do have other ways that we can do advertising. We have our own machine, we can print. We have other people that we partner with that help in that aspect. We have Bert who can do websites, so we can do your website and keep that up for you. I have Ashley who can do the graphic design piece. So now we have these different facets where we can get some different revenue coming in so that we don't solely have to rely on the advertising piece of things.
And how do you market? How did you start marketing? How do people know where they can get the magazine, or that the magazine even exists, or that you do printing services? How did you start, and how's that evolved?
It's still a work in progress. I'll say that much, because I can go around the room and say, have you heard of the Urban Experience? And probably the majority of the people would shake their heads and say no, which always tells me that we have work to do. We started off solely, not really doing too much. Mind you, my whole thing was education. I have no business background. I don't know what's right, what's wrong, how it looks, how it shouldn't look. And so I gleaned onto a lot of people, a lot of people that I would just reach out to. How do you do this? And if I did something wrong, people would tell me that too. And so I just kind of embraced all of that as I went along with the journey. So we're in a place now to where we do have a website, and we do have our Facebook page, and we do have word of mouth. So I think we've grown in that sense, because we started out looking like a newsletter. People would say, your newsletter is so cute. And I'm like, it's not a newsletter, it's a magazine. Like, what are you talking about? So it has definitely evolved over the years to where we didn't really put nothing into too much of nothing. And now we're at a point to where at least, the magazine can be shared. Businesses are starting to share it, with their employees, whether it's their diversity areas, and then, we're working on trying to get into Des Moines Public Schools on their Twitter page. So we have now these outlets where people are like, oh, this does exist, and people are reaching out to us now to either put in stories or get into advertising. I feel like we're the bridge to the community that I think people are trying to reach. And they think they're reaching them, and they're not. And so our publication is the opportunity to do that.
So talk about some of the diversification, because you have Iowa Juneteenth as well, and the website, and the graphic work, and the printing. So talk about how you diversified as an organization. And
yeah, I am very independent, so I like to do things on my own, and I don't do well with all that. And so but I had to get to a point where I couldn't be a graphic designer, couldn't go back to school to learn how to do that. I don't know nothing about holding up a website, so I couldn't do that either. So I had to really, give those things to other people and allow them to help. But I did know what I liked. So every time I would look at the magazine, I could say, yep, that works. Nope, take that out. Yep, we're going there. And so that's the nice part about working with Bert, with working with Ashley. Like, everyone wants the same thing. We just want the magazine to look great. We want it to reach people. And so it was really easy with doing that. And then with Juneteenth, we just have a really perfect partnership because I do run the nonprofit side and the for-profit side, that we are the promoters of Juneteenth. And so that was a very easy thing for us to do, and keeping up the website and having a graphic person. So really, Bert and Ashley do a little bit of both on both ends of it for me, and it makes it, and it works very well.
Yeah. And talk about how Juneteenth is such a nice complement to, it's kind of an event that kind of displays what you put in your magazine. I mean, it's the human experience of what you're trying to...
Right. We're able to, and we're going to start very soon, is telling stories that relate to Juneteenth each month. So the nice thing is we are the arm that can communicate for Juneteenth. And Juneteenth is something that many people don't know about, but we're starting to learn a little bit more about it. And so I see some head shaking, which is good. So that means you know a little bit about Juneteenth. But it is just a celebration from slavery, when the proclamation was written in 1863. It took 2.5 years later for slaves in Galveston to find out they were free, and we celebrate Juneteenth. But Juneteenth is more to me than just a celebration. It is freedom. And so our goal for next year is talking about breaking chains in the areas of health, education, and jobs. And so we have to get to a point to where we're free, and there's still some things that are holding us back. And so we are just that media arm for Juneteenth, and so that's what makes the relationship so special.
Right. Talk about some of the networking you've done, some of the certifications you've received that have helped you build and grow your business.
Well, after I got out of the fact that I didn't know it all, because I can be very hard-headed sometimes, and so I think I got all this down. My mom can shake her head to that. So I had to get to the point to where I needed to get help, you know, and I had to go. My dad just straight up told me, I'm not taking any classes, so this is your thing, so you go get all the learning. It's like I'm at retirement age, and I'm not trying to do all that. So I did take Dream Builders, and so that helped me kind of get things going. I've done the Focus Me class there as well, that really kind of allowed me, you know, to look into some things. And then I just like reach out to folks all the time. I'm very bold about coming up to someone and just saying, can we meet sometime? And people are like, I went up to the governor and they know who she was, and people are like, did you know her? Nope, but I need your attention because I need to talk to you. And so that's just how I am. I just have no problem going up to people and talking to them because I need help. And so now that I've gotten past it, I can't do it, I need your help to make this great, because we have something that I'm going to pass down to my children. I know that. And so I need help to be able to sustain that. So I go to at least 1 to 2 networking events a month at least. You know, with all the other things I do. The beauty of this is this really put me in a position to do other things. And then now, you know, school board.
Talk about how those...
It really did. So this started out as just like, I was just like, I'm just going to do this magazine and that's it. I'm good with that. Don't worry about it. I don't need to do anything else. I'll put all my energy into this and that's it. And then it went from magazine to about 8 to 9 months later, I get custodianship of Juneteenth. And I'm thinking, okay, I know nothing about a Juneteenth, but I'll look into this and let's see how it works. And it works well. So I go from magazine to Juneteenth to leaving teaching. From leaving teaching, the school board thing comes up. You know, my children really pushed me to do that. I didn't want to do it because I had left the district and didn't feel like I should be back in a place who I didn't really feel like was going to give me the chance of what I wanted to do, which was go into administration. So I was hesitant. I did it anyway, and thank God I'm on the board. And so I went from there, and then I went into the Greater Des Moines Leadership Institute. Went there to learn more about being a leader. I knew I was a leader and needed to still get some of those tools. So then I went and graduated from there in 2018. Now I'm on their board as curriculum chair. So it's just like this, I mean, when I look back over it, it's just like it just kind of just all came together, and God couldn't have written a better story for me because I thought I knew the plan. My plan was going to be, I was going to graduate, I was going to be a teacher for just a few years, I was going to be a dean of students, I was going to be a principal, I was going to be a superintendent. Like that was the path that I had for myself. And so it says that my plans are not your plans, my ways are not your ways, but I'm going to give you a hope and a great future. And so I had to finally just say okay to that. And so now I know that I'm living out my purpose in life. And it took me till my late 30s to figure that out, but I'm living what I was placed here on this planet to do. And so that's just a great feeling, to not feel like I'm doing a job anymore, but I'm doing my passion. And that's just huge for me.
Right. I know you have your Tsp certification.
Yes.
Why don't you tell everybody about that, and you can maybe talk a little bit how you got involved with Cirrus and how that's benefited your business as well.
So being in the Greater Des Moines Leadership Institute, I met Jill. I did not know at the time what she did, and so found out that she was running the Tsp, and I said, well, we should do that after I shared with her what we did, and so we got certified. Very easy, simple process. If you're not certified, it's very easy.
So Tsp is targeted small business.
Yes.
So woman-owned, minority-owned, disabled, service-disabled, veteran-owned.
Yeah, and so it was very easy to be a part of. We got involved with that, and what that allowed us to be able to do, and it still does to this day, is we can go for jobs through the state.
Yep.
So we have actually done about 2 or 3 jobs now for the state, larger jobs that we've been able to do that has been under that $10,000 mark, so that we don't have to go through too much paperwork. And so they've just been able to reach out to me. We've been able to give them quotes if they like it. You know, it's been great. And so then I got hooked up with Justin because I wanted to keep this going. I'm like, oh, this is pretty nice. Like, you know, we can do this. And so he's been showing me, and we meet often just so that I can kind of see what's out there, you know, for us to get involved with.
Right.
And so it has been a great thing for us, because we're able to get jobs through the state that, you know, that we wouldn't have known about had we had not been involved with TSP.
Right. And it helps with the revenue stream.
It does.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Consistent. And then another piece of diversification is your printing partners, another kind of aspect of networking or finding somebody to do something you can't do, but keep them as a client.
Right. So we have the people just, what I love is that, you know, when you talk to people and you tell them what you're doing, there are many people out there that want you to be successful. And so I was reaching out to some of the larger print places and was like, hey, we're doing this printing thing, but I just got this one machine compared to your many machines. And so would it be possible that if I get this job, that if it's just too large for us to do, can we just reach out to you and can you do this for us? And they were like, yeah, sure, no problem. So that's been the beauty of like not having to break down my machine on the jobs that it can do, let it do the jobs it can do, but then use our printing partners as an option as well. And that has been great for us to be able to ask for some of those larger jobs that maybe we wouldn't be able to do on our own. We've been able to use our printing partners for that, and so that has been great for us.
Right. You want to talk about lessons learned? And you were honest that maybe I did things a little backwards, but
I did.
What would be maybe some suggestions for those that are thinking about whether it's from a structure standpoint or bookkeeping, you know, just what are some of your lessons that you'd like to pass along?
So I would get, there's probably way too many for time's sake, but one, have a plan. I mean, we had some sort of plan, but it wasn't really dictated and written down.
It was up here.
Yeah, it was all here, but it was nothing was like written out. And so I did seek Angela Jackson, who helped me come up with a plan and get that together. Have a team of people. Try not to do it on your own. I know that probably just is like that's common sense, but for someone who's really hard-headed like me, that was a big lesson learned. You cannot do it all by yourself. So make sure you do that. And then really the biggest lesson that I'm learning is the bookkeeping piece. We don't do good at that. We're getting better. We're bringing some people on board to help with that. But that bookkeeping piece is so important because when I want to do things, sometimes people are like, well, look at your books. Or like for the, what she just talked about, the 10,000 small businesses. But when I applied for that the first time, I didn't have like all the things that they needed. I couldn't give them because I didn't really have anyone keeping my books. Like just between my father and I, we're in survival mode. So we're just like, make the deposit, pay the bill. Make the deposit, like what do I need to track that for? Because it's like, I don't have anything left to show. So we didn't really have we didn't have a bookkeeper for all of that. So that is very important to have someone to be able, to keep your books. And then the marketing aspect is really huge. That's something that I wish we probably would have tried to pour some money into. Because we didn't really do that, and so now we're taking the opportunities when we can to kind of tell people who we are, and word of mouth, and trusting social media. But definitely that marketing piece is important, and the networking does make a huge difference as well.
Mentors?
Yeah, got a lot of them.
You want to talk about a couple of them?
So I started out with Angela Jackson, and I say her name. Will always be grateful to her because she sat me down, she helped me with my business plan, she walked me through everything, she knew my vision, she had me research other magazines that were, I wasn't even looking here because there was really nobody to compare myself to here, but I compared myself to Ebony and Jet and Essence, and she made me know that stuff inside and out. And then what she did was she would take each magazine and she would say, these are all your mistakes. You shouldn't be doing that. And at first I was a little offended. I was like, give me all these circles for it. But it was good because what she was telling me is if you want to be like the rest, if you're trying to make this something that sustains, if you want to be on that same level as others here in the city, you don't have room for those kinds of mistakes. You don't have room for the words to be misspelled on your front cover. And those were mistakes we were making that, I would have 2 or 3 people looking at the magazine and I'm like, well, what's wrong with all of us? Because we all miss that. So, it happens. But now we're to a point, to where we're kind of past that somewhat. Everyone makes a little mistake here and there, but we're past that. But I have a person that I meet with weekly just to kind of flesh things out because I hold a lot of stuff in, and so I don't normally get a lot of stuff out. And so I found someone who didn't look like me, act like me, talk like me, don't know anybody that I could say things to that could give me some feedback in a way that it's probably some things that I needed to hear. My father has probably been my biggest mentor because he's done it all. He's been in the game, he's tried to leave it, he's been busy, he's done this, but I think the difference between us two is that now I have the tools, whereas the tools wasn't there for him back then, and if he would have had the tools, his stuff would have been sustainable too, and so and that's the difference. And so those are just some of the people that I meet people all the time. Like Smoky Row is my home, and so is DSM Brew, and I'm always meeting people just to learn more about what can I do to make this thing better?
And the shout out for Angela Jackson. She's the owner of the Great Frame Up in West Glen. So please visit her for all your
She writes a magazine every month.
framing needs. Fantastic. She's probably one of the only original West Glen businesses that has stayed. So it's pretty cool. All right. You want to talk about work-life balance? Is there such a thing? And what are some things you do to maybe help recharge?
Yeah.
Because running a business is draining.
Yeah.
And how do you stay motivated? How do you balance work and your 2 kids and your family and your community?
So I started out being not too good at that. Really would just kind of run myself to the ground, just kind of go, because I felt like if I kept to me that was working hard. Running yourself into the ground, you're working hard. That's what working hard is, because that just makes sense. And I was missing a lot of things. I'm a single parent of 2 kids. Their father's not alive, so I'm the only person that they depend on, and I really wasn't there for them like I should have been. And there were many times that they reminded me, like, where you at, and so I had to really, and that took me some years to really start kind of owning, because I was in some sort of denial that I really wasn't being present at some things. And normally for me, when God needs me to slow down, something happens to me. So either it's my hips were replaced, or my feet needed to be done, or I have a fibromyalgia incident. So but what I was doing was stressing myself out, and so I was keeping all this stuff in, and I wasn't really letting things out. So now I've met with LaTanya too before, and the whole physical, spiritual, and all of that emotional, that's important. And I didn't really get that, honestly, till like really this year of making sure that I take care of those 3 things, especially with being on the school board. That just say that alone, you already know that drains me out. Being on the board for the other partnership, you know, doing Juneteenth, doing the magazine, and being present for, you know, my son and my daughters at Iowa State this year. And so I physically do some type of activity daily. Rather that's walking, rather that's doing something in my house, rather that's doing some housework. I have to physically do some things. Spiritually, I read daily. I read during the day. I read at night my Bible. I pray in the morning. I pray during the day. Because that's what gets me through. If I can just be very honest about what gets me through for everything I do, it's my faith in God. Like literally, my Bible is what gives me the power I need to get through. My gospel music is what I need to listen to when I'm going to a meeting that I really don't want to be a part of, but I know I got to be there, you know. And so it's all of that positive. I keep positive around me. I have no time for negativity. And so I just keep that going, and that's what sustains me. At the end of the day, when this gets too much, I go into my closet and pray. That's what recharges me. So I can't say that enough. And I know that don't work for everybody, but that's what works for me. And it makes me get through all of this. And if everything about God was fake, that's okay, because it gets me through everything that I needed to get through. And I'm serious. If this was just, it wasn't a waste of time for me, because it woke me up every morning. It sustained me through the day, and it got me in my bed at night. And it allowed me to be a great mom, to where now my son, anything he got going on, he comes first. And I tell people, sorry if I have to miss your event. I've done that a lot this year. But that needed to be done. 1, so he knew that he was loved and appreciated. And 2, it did something for me that I hadn't had in a long time. So for me, it's my faith that keeps me going, because I am living out my purpose. This is it. So I don't see anything as competition. I'm not competing against anyone in this world. I am walking my purpose. And when you walk your purpose, competition just goes out the door, because I'm doing what God called me to do. And that is to touch people's lives. That's to be an impact in this community. And it's to speak up for people who just don't have it in them to speak up for themselves. Because we're going through a lot, and people are afraid to speak up. I'm not scared to speak up, because I'm doing what I was called to do. And so that's why I do what I do.
My next question. Tell us your why.
That's it. I can keep going because I love to talk, but that's it.
So what's next for you? Because you're not busy enough, there might be a what's next. I know you're working on something.
Well, besides the election, which is a whole nother beast, if you ever want to do that, pray long and hard about that. It's a whole new beast to be running in an election against people. So I have that that I'm dealing with. Thankfully, that will be over in November, and either way it goes, I'm happy with it, because I still got other things to do. So if it don't pan out, it's great. But I am in the process of writing a book. So that competition I talked to you about, the name of my book is going to be There's No Competition, Only Purpose, Following the Path to Follow Your Purpose. And that's really what it is. And so I have the title, I have the chapters. There's just nothing in those chapters yet. I have it all thought together, because I want people to know my story, but not to know my story because it puts me on a pedestal, but to know my story to hopefully motivate you for wherever you're at in your life. And so the next part in my life is going to be a book. So y'all the first to hear that, because I ain't said it out loud because I kept it to myself. But that is the next thing that I'm going to do. And whenever that happens, it happens. I'm not looking for it to happen tomorrow, or whenever those words are given to me, I'll go on to a place and get that taken care of. But that will be the next thing. And then Juneteenth turns 30 next year. So we are going to have a great week-long celebration for Juneteenth, and we're going to make sure that everyone in this city is the part of that. And there will be several things to do that, and we'll be fundraising for that. And so, yeah, I'm going to be pretty busy, but it's all good.
Well, I could ask a million more questions, but why don't we let our audience ask a few questions of you to begin. Go, yeah.
First, I want to thank you for sharing your story. And then my question is, if we were to get back in the room 5 years from now, what would we hear from you?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so 5 years from now, because I thought about it. I believe that Iowa Urban Media will go further than just being for Iowa. We will be for the Midwest, because we have nothing like that in the Midwest. So I believe that we're going to do that. We're going to be in a space, in a place where I am going to be talking to people all over this city and probably all over this state, because I believe that speaking is my gifted area. I believe I'm here to motivate people in some way. So you'll see me on someone's TV screen. You'll see me in someone's place. That's where I'm going to go. You're going to see me being sustainable to where I can actually pay myself for some of this stuff I'm doing. In 5 years, I'm going to have some kind of paycheck going, and so you're definitely going to see that. And you're just going to see a person that is really free and happy with herself, and loves every single thing that she does and every single person that she meets. And that if you ever need anything, I can't financially give you a thing, but I can give you the wisdom and the knowledge and the resources that I have been given. I can give those things to you.
Moment. More questions?
What do you still need that someone like who's here could help you with?
Awesome question.
I need you to show me how to make things sustainable. Asking for money is easy. That's a no-brainer. I definitely need that. But what I need more is the tools and the resources on how to sustain what I have, to be able to keep it so it reaches a larger market. I do not want to just stay here in the city of Des Moines. It's nice, but I've got people of color that live in the state of Iowa that need to see what we have, and that need to be able to tell their stories, whether they live in the city or whether they live in rural areas. Like, they need to be heard too. So I need an avenue to be able to reach the entire state of Iowa. And of course, it always goes back to money, but I need to be able to find a way to where maybe someone will underwrite our printing for us so we can do more copies to be able to reach the state of Iowa. That someone will invest in what we're doing by just giving me their time. I'm not in a position to be able to pay employees, but maybe people will give their in-kind of some things. I also need people to tell their stories. There's so many people doing so many great things, and we just don't know about it because we don't speak about it, because we don't want to talk about ourselves. And I'm telling you, your story can impact somebody else. And so we definitely need people to write stories to be a part of what we do. We're a monthly publication, and I think we're going to keep it that way. My dad said 2 weeks, and I'm like, you're crazy. We're doing 1 month. 1 month is enough for me right now. So 1 month, if we get to the point of 2 weeks, wonderful. But right now, 1 month is enough for me. But those are some of the things that we need.
Any more questions?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So when you said you picked, was it Jackie as your mentor?
Angela.
Angela Jackson.
So how did you, what made you go that way? How did you find a mentor? Where did you find your pool? What created your pool of mentorships?
Every time I meet with someone, they tell me, you should meet. Like, I always get that, like, oh, you should meet. So Sophia, who I met with, she was like, you should meet. And so the person that I meet with weekly was because of someone that she said I should meet. And then what I do is I meet with them, and if I'm feeling it, we can continue this. If I'm not, then it just doesn't work for me. Doesn't mean that they're not right for somebody else. Yeah, it was a great cup of coffee. Yeah. So that's just what I do. So that, and Angela, I think Angela just came because she knew about the publication that we were doing, and she was contributing to it. And I was just like, I need help. And I knew she wanted to see me succeed. And even though I don't see her, regularly, but she contributes to the magazine every month. She cheers for me all the time, and she puts the publications in her shop. So, I just kind of just always get a referral from someone else to meet with someone.
And you have to be out and about.
Yeah.
That's, whether it's NABO, which is National Organization of Women-Owned Businesses, if I said business owners, I said that backwards, or partnership events, or our events. It's all, ooh, boy, you just gotta, and I don't see you two being shy at all, so. I think you're good. I think you're good. Yeah.
You mentioned you go to like try and do 1 or 2 networking events. Which ones are your favorite and have been the most beneficial?
I go to so many, so there's nothing that's really consistently each month. Anything that the partnership is doing, I try to be a part of those kinds of things. If there's something that the Iowa Center has going on, I try to do those things. And then just because I'm on the school board, people invite me to stuff all the time, so I just try to go to those events just because for me, even though I'm wearing my school board hat, I'm still wearing my, oh, do you know about the urban experience? So it allows me to be able to be in those spaces too. But those are probably the 2 that I do. And then anytime like there might be a new person in town that their business is doing a welcoming event for them, I try to make sure to attend those events as well. Just so, you know, you're gonna always get someone in the room. And I'm a part of chambers. So I'm a part of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, and I'm working my way to be a part of the Des Moines Chamber, and then when they have their networking events, I go to those as well.
I failed to mention, and maybe Mike wants to talk more about it, but the Greater Des Moines Partnership actually has a mentorship and mentee program where you can sign up. If you're looking for a mentor, then they'll match you to somebody that's signed up and vice versa. So check that out too.
Yeah, we did do that.
Any other questions? Any last words?
No, thank you. You never know what opportunities lie ahead, and this was not on my radar at all, but this is a part of the journey walk that I'm in. And so if I can leave you with anything is embrace the journey that you're currently walking on. And it doesn't matter if that journey brings you lots of money or no money. If it brings you happiness, if it brings you peace, if it brings you joy, then you're on the right track to doing something. So my suggestion is just to take care of yourself so that you can be your best you for whatever your calling is in life, that you can make an impact. So,
well, thank you. I think our community is better having you in it and advocate for our community. So you stay right here. You just stay right here in Des Moines. We're benefiting from it.
I love this place. So.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. If you had these little intake sheets that you needed to do, you can just leave them on the table or hand them in to me. Thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you at an event again soon. Thank you.